Graeme Bethune. I'm a member of the IGU Executive Committee and also Regional Coordinator for North East Asia and Australasia. In terms of energy, the region's dominated by China, which has a rapidly growing demand for energy of all kinds, whether it be natural gas, whether it be coal, whether it be oil for that matter, plus in future also renewables as well. So it's really dominated by China. The energy situation in Japan and Korea is much more mature than it is in China, and Australia is one of the major suppliers into North Asia. Well, in China, the major demand driver for energy as a whole is the rate of economic growth and urbanisation, and that's important for the world as a whole. And then that plays out differently for different forms of energy. For example, China is a major factor in world oil markets now, but it's also a major factor in gas demand. China is now the world's largest gas importer in terms of gas pipelines and also LNG, and will soon probably overtake Japan as the world's biggest importer of LNG. I think probably one of the main dynamics in China, but also other parts of Asia, is also the need to clean up the air quality. So that's an important priority for the government in China, and government policy is one of the major drivers of the energy mix, along with the need for energy security as well. But that's the need to reduce air pollution and improve air quality. It's also important in South Korea, for example. Australia's role here as a major energy supplier, and of particularly coal and LNG. So Australia is the largest LNG supplier now to China, and also to Japan, and the second largest supplier to Korea. So Australia's been supplying LNG to Japan since the 1980s, but now with the completion of 7 new LNG projects in Australia and 3 existing ones, this year we expect that Australia will become the world's largest LNG exporter. Natural gas plays a number of roles. It partly plays a role of diversification and security. So historically, for example, Japan had a rough energy mix of one third nuclear, 1/3 gas, and 1/3 coal in terms of stationary energy. So it's important. So gas is an important part of the total energy mix from a diversification and energy security point of view. But gas also has major advantages as a clean fuel, and one that is much less polluting than, for example, diesel in terms of air quality, or obviously coal for that matter. The demand for energy in China as a whole is expected to increase significantly, or to keep increasing significantly, and also within that, gas's role is going to increase as well. Gas is currently about 8% of energy consumption in China, which is relatively low for an increasingly developed economy, and the government has a specific target of 15%. So gas is very important there. I think one of the areas where there's a gap in communication is probably in Australia and New Zealand, where we see the growth of anti-fossil fuel activism, and increasingly focused on gas as well as on coal. So on the one hand, you've got this very substantial demand from North Asia for a source of fuel that's clean and provides energy security and stimulates economic growth. And on the other hand, you've got activists in Australia, and to some extent also in New Zealand, trying to stop development of gas in particular. So I think there's certainly a potential role for the IGU in that discourse to better explain the benefits of gas.